Population 200, one stoplight, and a football team that plays 8-man because that's all the town's got. NFL Films, the same crew behind Hard Knocks and George Kittle highlight reels, drove up the California coast to a small ranching town called Tomales. Today on the Hot Sheet, we welcome NFL Films producer Margaret Morris and producer Susie Allan alongside Jodi Stephen, mom of the team star player. Today we talk cattle, community, and the Friday night lights that hold it all together. Hit that subscribe button.
Welcome to the Hot Sheet, everybody.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome.
And I have to say, just to kick this off, it's an amazing film that you guys did. And it's so fun how a small town high school football team becomes the heartbeat of the entire community. It's just so simple and straightforward, but perfect. And I'd love to know how this film came about. I think that was you, Susan, right?
Yeah. Well, it all started at the post office. Fred Schultz, for a while, worked at the post office. And we live, Jodi knows, people don't deliver our mail out here. So if we want to get our mail, we go to the post office, and that's a little social seat in itself. And my husband has been shooting for NFL Films for ages and ages. And he walks in with the cap, and Fred, not a shy guy, says, Do you work for NFL Films? Where'd you get that cap? Do you work for NFL Films? And they got to talk. He says, I'm up there at Tomales High and coaching and gee, those kids are great. And so he got us up there. And I'm embarrassed to say that all these years that we hadn't been to a game. And just the whole scene, not just the team and the coaches, but who was in the stands. And things like the cheerleaders would invite the little kids down to hold the pom-poms while they did the cheers, and the kids would shake the pom-poms and the cheerleaders would do the cheers. It was really something. And they didn't win, and they played so hard, and it was spectacular, and we all drove home in the fog. So we told Margaret about it.
And how does that work for you, Margaret? How does NFL Films get involved?
So, first of all, from a credible source like the Allans, when we get a story idea, we take it seriously. But that was actually in 2023 when we first tried to do this. And I immediately, any story for me, I came to this business with a film background. If it's kind of outside the realm of maybe an NFL team and facility, I'm like, ooh, I'm in. So I immediately was drawn to the story. It fell through for, I'm not sure, and I don't think it's relevant, but some political reasons. Maybe there was some not steady, something going on at the school that they said, no, we don't want to do it. And I have to tell you, I was actually taken aback. I was like, then it's you want something even more when they don't want it. And you go, wait, you don't want NFL Films to come do a piece about your high school football team? Oh no, I want this now. So that's literally what happened. So then
a real producer, right?
Right?
You get that.
Yeah, no, I want it now. So then we tried again, and Fred was kind of our conduit to the school, and he was the assistant coach, also Michigan native like myself, so we connected there. And so then I tried again a year later, and he said, listen, there's a new principal. It was a new principal, right, you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. New principal and the AD. And he's like, yeah, we want to do this. This is great. And so that was spring of 2024. And I don't know if you want me to get into right now how our pitch sessions work for NFL Films.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait,
So
I'm dying to be in that room. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
NFL is a dream job.
Yeah. So NFL Films Presents is the series where we found a home for this story. It's actually the longest running sports magazine television show on TV. And It's our flagship show. And it's basically where we do all of these stories, from player profiles to grassroots stories to you name it. NFL Films Presents is just a great home for the just good, feel good football stories. So every early March, there's about 70 producers in our department here at NFL Films.
Wow.
Of those 70, there's probably about 30 or so of us who work on Presents. We call it Presents. And we literally go to a steakhouse in a big giant room for about 5-6 hours and sit around a big rectangular table. And everybody, you have like a packet of just 50, 60 pages. It's like either they're one-page treatments, paragraph treatments, it could be one sentence. And everybody just throws out your pieces. And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh,
yeah,
that sounds like a dream.
it's pretty fun. I will say, like, back in the day, that process was very exclusive. It was like very like boys clubby
Oh,
and like,
yeah.
how do I get an invite to the presents pitch meeting?
Yeah.
I'm
but
still trying to figure that out.
Right. But needless to say, this piece, though, as soon as everybody heard it, I was like, listen, Mark and Susie Allan, they live out there. We've already been in touch with the high school, and it was a home run from the start. So it was
Yeah,
just like,
so they just said yes.
yeah. So, and it's not really like anybody saying yes or no. It's sort of, and people have gotten more polite over the years. There used to be like, there's like a cranky old guy who used to just roll his eyes and sit back and gesticulate when you'd say a bad thing. But now it's, we're definitely, we're more polite now, and people like nod and say like, maybe we shouldn't do that. But this was a home run. So that's how the story kind of got greenlit. And then from there, I hope this isn't too long.
No,
From there,
no.
I wrote like a one-page treatment, which I sent to you.
Yeah, I read it. Yeah, the treatment's
so
amazing.
that's been revised. But
Sure.
it's like, I had this idea. All I knew was that there was an 8-man football team, which was our focus. Like, oh, wow, it's 8-man football. I really didn't understand the full picture of the agriculture and the deeper layers there with farming in that community. I just thought, okay, this is going to be like tough farm boys playing football and having to travel 4 hours for a game. That's what I thought it was. And I thought the focus would be on the commutes, because I'm like, oh, we'll get a drone and we'll show the bus driving up the coast, because I knew that area of the country a little bit. So that's kind of what I thought it was. But then once we had a conference call with Jodi, because the school put us in touch with players, and these players wrote essays. And from the essays, I knew from the jump that Strand, Jodi's son, because he was a star of the team and he had this background in ranching, I knew that he would be definitely one of the players we'd feature.
Oh, wow.
We got on.
What were the essays? What were the essays that were you wrote?
No, they were like profiles. It was awesome, actually. Like, he wrote like, this is my family background.
Wow.
And, several players sent us essays to see if they would be one of the players.
Like, this is me, this is my life. And oh my gosh, how cool.
Yeah.
So who asked them for that? You do it, or is there a director assigned to that? How does that process?
So we've kind of worked through the school through the AD, and then the AD got the coach involved, and between the AD and the coach, and then they and Fred was huge in all of this. Yep. And then they just forwarded me, and then it came right to me, because ultimately, like, and I'm kind of jumping around, but what I love about my role here is when I have a story, I can control, I'm directing it, I'm editing it, going out, producing it. Like, I have a production coordinator, but so I was like the one reading the essays.
How cool.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting about that, to people that don't know about TV, is usually a casting tape is a video. It's a Zoom or a video. And so the fact that you're reading the essay that the kids wrote and getting to know them is so cool. Like, it's just a different process than what we're used to, because it's such a visual medium that you see the person, you're like, yes. But like, reading the person is a different experience. I like that. That's really neat. And that Strand jumped out at you. He did. So we did, after we read the essays, then we did a Zoom. Remember, Jodi? Like, we did a Zoom. And that's when the first Zoom, we're talking just like this. And I'm like talking to Jodi going, show me where you are. Like, and I was looking at the scenery, because I'm like, we need to shoot there. Like, she's just hanging out in the backyard. And so that's like the first time that I started to kind of get an understanding of how beautiful the area was, despite, like, you have your idea of like driving up the coast. But so we did do a video call, confirmed Strand, and same thing basically with everybody, with the I knew Strand, and then you guys recommended Jordan, who was also on the team. And then Fred, of course, we knew that we wanted to use as a character. Tim, I loved that from an angle.
the Coast Guard and the discipline. There's so much like the theme of the story is so much discipline, and I love that too. And I knew I wanted to shoot at the Coast Guard facility. And then when we got there, we found, well, then I was like, wait a minute, I need to have Jodi part of this because she was so dynamic. And I was like, I don't have a female voice. I do like to always put a female voice in a film. And I knew that I thought she would be the person for that. So Jodi was sort of a later ad. Carlos, the other player, hopefully you don't. Yeah, I'm jumping around. He was a later ad because we got there and I was like, everyone keeps talking about this Carlos kid. And then he was born in Mexico and had sort of another angle that gave a little more depth to the story. And then Albert Strauss, also like ad on site kind of thing. We were shooting MOS Scenics at the dairy farm and he just happened to come to it was his dairy farm. And he started chatting with me as my DP is like getting shots and I go, oh my gosh, we got to call our audio guy. He's too good. I need to work with him. So that's how the characters came. Sorry.
Jodi, you hear that your son's going to possibly do this NFL Films thing. What's your reaction? How do you feel about all that?
Well, it was exciting, but it was like we were so the year that it kind of fell through, it was sort of like we weren't really sure if it was real, right? It was like, yeah, okay, like, all right. And then the following year, it really wasn't until Margaret, like we had contact with you where it was like, oh, this is really like, this isn't just some like fantasy world. And then it got really, really exciting for the boys, because it was just like, wow, what an opportunity that it may be your only opportunity ever to have this kind of situation. And so it was exciting, but it was cool to see how the boys handled it because like inside they were like really excited and stuff, but like on the outside they were pretty just like, yeah, like, all right, whatever. And so that was kind of fun to see too.
This is funny because I'm gonna just tell you, I'm gonna admit something right now. When I was hired at NFL Films, I did not know football. Like I have a guide in my desk that's like women, like the armchair guide to football.
Oh my God.
I'm going to show you. Because I don't. Okay. So like, this is what my mom and dad gave me when I started working.
My gosh. A woman's guide to football.
Yeah, because which is kind of funny that it's women's and now I have different thoughts on that and we can get to that later. But like I was a film person. I just wanted to work in feature filmmaking. So like even 8-man football is basically an abridged version of the team. It means they don't have enough people to fill the roster.
Okay. So you have an 8-man team. So what does that mean? You have to consolidate the positions or lose some positions or do double positions or is it? Yeah.
Well, that's, and if you watch the show, if you watch this doc, you would know that I had coach explain that, but it basically means you're limited. They have more of a run game. They have more of an offensive attack. It's just less people on the field. And it's because of the attendance at the school. So that's how I sold, like, I hate to say it, that's how I sold it here because there's a million like small town football teams across America, but there's not that many 8-man leagues. So people were intrigued by that.
I love it. Yeah, because it's unusual. But then you go out there, and this is the beauty of a documentary, is you go out there and you're like, wait, this setting on Tomales Bay up in, on the coast of California is not only incredibly beautiful, but it's this, defined by ranch land and ranchers. And these are ranch kids. And that's like, what did you think when you first kind of realized that the setting was part of the story too?
Well, the setting was I always knew the setting would be part of the story. Like that much, that's sort of how I was like, oh my gosh, this land. And like I said, I always knew that I wanted that drone shot of like buses driving kids. I always knew it was going to be breathtaking just visually. However, I don't think I fully understood it until we got there the night that we scouted and we met Jodi at her ranch, and it was like a perfectly clear night and the sun is setting over the mountain. Like the DP and I, we just looked at each other and we went, oh, this is like next level like cinematography that we're about to get. So So we did always think that the geography was like the place would be a character. We didn't know, however, how much the people, like you never know in a documentary, like with other stories I do, you've got the star power, right? Of the player, the team. But when you go do something like this, I don't know if I'm going to get dynamic people. I could get a bunch of people who just interview and go, yes, no, I play football. And then what are you stuck with? You're stuck with flat interviews and beautiful like landscape.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I thought like your essay thing was interesting because of just that. Like you don't know what you're going to get through an essay.
Yeah.
Totally. True. But I think like, so I always knew that the scenery and the visuals like that, I always knew that was going to be like, that's how I pitched it, was like, this is going to be gorgeous. Like we're going to go out and we're going to shoot all this. But I didn't know that I was going to get the heart that we got with the people. That is what, like, for me, like you asked, I think you said, why was this story special for me? I'm trying to produce your podcast.
That's the fun thing about this show is it's producers talking to producers. You know, we're all like,
yeah,
we got a lot to say.
But you asked like what made me love this piece, and I think it's that every piece that I do where like the story, it just transcends football. And that's how I felt about this. I was like there's a few over the years that stick with me. And this is one of them because you care about the people, you care about their land. I started getting like politically charged about farming. And the whole time I was there, I kept going, oh, there's more here. Like we should be doing a series. Like anyways, I'll stop there. I'll cut myself.
It was a passionate piece for you.
It was.
But that's what intrigued me. I'm from Point Reyes, which is the nearby town in Tomales, which is so fun. And I learned about the film through somebody posted it on Facebook, and it was in the Point Reyes Light. Margaret, you're quoted in this piece saying that this was one of your favorite films that you had done. And I was so intrigued by that because you've been at the NFL for 30 years. Yay.
27.
Oh my gosh. But you're my hero because NFL films just has had an unwavering legacy of just producing amazing stories and beautiful imagery. And, you know, NFL films is just kind of the staple that, you know, for real high end type of films. And for you to say that this was one of your favorite films, that really struck me as a fellow filmmaker. I was like, wait, so what, you know, we all have those films in our pockets. Like that was the thing that really kind of moved me. And so that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Like what was it? Because you get to work with like George Kittle and all these cool players and you're on the field. And then, you know, but this little small town 8-man team is your favorite.
I mean, it really was. And I think there's, and I hate to use like buzzwords, but there's an authenticity to working with real people in real communities. Don't get me wrong. It's great to work with the NFL players and the superstars. But again, I already admitted that I was never a real football person. So I've never, even like my second year here, I think I did a shoot with Jerry Rice. Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay. But hold on.
I'm a 49er fan.
I'll get to the point. Like the point is, I was like, "Oh wow, that's cool," and everybody goes, "Oh, Margaret, Jerry, he's tough. He's going to be hard." And I was like, "Whatever. He's just a guy that I'm doing a story on." So that's how I approach that. But everything surrounding the football players, right? Like you get there and then you meet with the PR guy, and then you have 20 minutes. You go out on the field. So like that's great, and we can always make really cool pieces, and we get to show people about these superstars, and hopefully you get to know them. But when you go into a community, and I'm like meeting with Jodi, sitting out at sunset, and we're chatting about life, and she's telling me about her son and their passion for football and what it means to this community. Now I'm invested, right? Like now I really care because she doesn't have a PR guy over
right
standing tapping her watch. So automatically, like right there, I just, it's the connections you make with people. Like I think like life is about making connections with people, but filmmaking is about connecting with people and like really, like I say, characters, but like they're people, you know, and hopefully you can be true to them. And that was like, as I was editing this rather, I kept thinking like, I really want to make sure that I'm representing these people and this community the way that I want people to feel what me and Dave, my DP, we both left there going like, phew, they're awesome.
The feeling was mutual, great. Margaret.
And
Yeah.
Jodi, you were awesome. I mean, honestly, I feel like you were the glue in the story because, you're the mom of the football guys and, you must have been so proud to have your son out there, but you really kind of connected the football field with the farmlands. Like, how did you do that? Like, how did you find that thread?
Margaret is an amazing producer because if you'd see all the reels of, and I don't even know if I'm using the right terminology, but if you saw the entire interview, I mean, there was times like Margaret would ask me a question, I just stare at you, I don't know, so you did an amazing, and thank you. But really, it's just, I'm going to use the word authenticity as well. It's just speaking from the heart. And I think that really that's what this community and what the football team represented, right? Because it really was going into battle, but it was they had, I'm not sure really, I'm sure I said it way better on the film, Margaret, but it's just really about real people. And it's just being their real selves. And there was no sense of fame or, you really were able just to capture our real life. And it's just really about, I agree, it's the connections and those boys and the whole school. It's a lifelong connection because they all experience something that really isn't replicated everywhere you go. I mean, of course, there's small towns, right? Everywhere. But this is our small town and this is our experience. And then they go out into the big real world. And yeah, I couldn't be more proud and humbled.
Yeah, there's
very humbled.
Nothing like Friday Night Lights and that chapter in your life, and it's unforgettable.
So, Susie, did your husband Allan film the?
He did. He shot the game. And so it was just really, really wonderful. I was his assistant that day. And I had, the first time I assisted him was at a Super Bowl, in the 80s. It was great. It was pretty cool. And I thought,
Niner game? Do you film the Niners in the 80s?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Look at this
for decades. And, we went from film to tape to digital. We've tracked all of that technology. But as I stood there, I thought, here's Mark. He's shot, how many, 24 Super Bowls. He's covered football for decades and decades. He's shot 60 minutes here and there. And he's shooting our local 8-man football team.
That's great.
It just seemed like, I don't know, maybe you guys have had this, but this sort of force field of adults around kids that we love, wanting to give them the very best that we can. I just thought, it was a wonderful moment. Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. I love this. Well, there's Sean said, there's nothing better than Friday Night Lights. I think, the Super Bowl is just its own special thing, but a Friday Night Lights, do you have a team? Do you have a team?
You probably can you?
I mean, I grew up in Michigan, so I did go to many a Thanksgiving game and I had turkey hot dogs on Thanksgiving and root for the Lions.
Because I was going to say you're in a room of Niners here, Niners girls, but, but not quite. We got
My husband's from California and he's a Niners fan. So we have the Niners old pennant in our basement. Yeah.
Okay.
Just don't get it.
Well, there were so many things I love about the film, but that, that kind of special Friday Night Lights thing, homecoming, the kids, everyone, the whole town comes out to celebrate. And, it's just so fun. It's so fun. And how Jodi, I think getting back to what you were saying, that work ethic of, learning how to take care of animals and, be a rancher and get up early, and how that translates to the work ethic on the field and how the field work ethic translates back to farming. It kind of feeds on each other. I loved when you said that. I forget what you said exactly, but do you remember? Because it was so perfect.
Well, I don't remember word for word, but it basically in ranching, right, is the animals are first. So you take care of them first and then you do what you need to do, right? And so on the field, right, you're taking care of all of your teammates, you're doing it together. And so there's this ethic about it's not about you, right? It's about your service to others. And that's kind of the gist of it.
I love that. That's so true. I remember I grew up, like I said, in Point Reyes nearby. I had chickens. I didn't have like a full cattle ranch or whatever, but we grew up with chickens. And it was my job to get up in the morning and feed the chickens before school. And, you know, being a kid, like I was probably like 10 or something, and I didn't do it. I slept in and didn't feed the chickens, and my dad found out. And man, I was like 10 probably. I went to bed without dinner that night so that I understood like, how it feels to not eat. And that was hard for me and my dad. But I guess what? The chickens never went hungry ever again. Like I never did that again. And I got up a little earlier and just did it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of stories like that, right? It makes sense, and I think not, and it doesn't have to be like a big ranch, right? It's any responsibility that has to do for caring for another, and pretty much all the kids or a big group of the kids from that go up to Tomales High School have those kind of responsibilities. You know, either their parents are working on ranches and they're helping, or they have ranches, or they have chickens and other, you know, even your dog and cat, all of that does have responsibility. And then these kids too, because the district is so wide, they're getting up very, very early just to get to school.
Like what time are they getting up?
Like some are getting up at like 5 or 6 in the morning. I mean, it's like if they were coming all the way
Yeah.
out to the point, I mean, by the time the bus gets to Point Reyes, right, then there's all the transfers there, and then it's got to go up to Tomales and all the stops. I know we
Yeah.
used to get on the bus when I was a kid. We would get on the bus at 6 o'clock, and it would pick us up in Marshall, Petaluma, pick up the
Yep.
neighbor kids, and then we would go all the way to Point Reyes and then up to Tomales. So we're an hour every day on the bus.
I mean, I did that same thing.
That
It
gives
was
hating
you'd
school
go
a
to
whole
walk
other
to the bus and
definition.
with a flashlight.
When you got to wake up at
Yeah.
5
That
to
gives
go to
what?
school. It gives hating school a whole other
Well, it
meaning
makes
when you have to wake up that early. 'Cause, you know, a lot of
Yeah,
kids
school's the
have to
easy
wake up
part.
10 minutes before they go to school. When you got to wake up a couple hours, 3 hours before school.
Well, I was gonna say it probably makes playing the game that much more. You're more invested because you're working harder to do it, to make it happen, right? Like you've got to be committed because if you're gonna get up early and your mom's gonna drive you 4 hours to the game, you better be into the game, you know?
I
Right,
love-
Mom?
Yeah. I have a story when they were freshmen. Oh my gosh, I'll never forget this. We didn't have a bus that day, right? Because we only have a limited number of buses and only a limited number of bus drivers. And so this was a game. I don't even remember what it was. I think it's somewhere like near Brentwood or somewhere. So it was a distance, but not like super far. And I was one of the drivers, and so I had I think there was three or four boys in the car, you know, and they're freshmen and they're playing varsity, right? Because we don't even have enough kids to have a JV and a varsity team. So these little freshmen, and we pull up, and they're going to be like, I'm not going to name names because they'll be embarrassed for me to say this, but they were like literally shaking, right? And as we pull up, the other team is already suited up, and they're like men, full size men, and the kids. And I was like, my advice to them, I said, don't waver, commit, and keep going. Don't think about it. Just keep going. You waver, you're smeared. Just don't waver. And I don't even remember if we won or not, but the ride home was a whole different feeling. Like they felt like they had accomplished something. And so we're driving home, and I was like, hey, do you guys want to get dinner? You know, thinking that it was going to be like In-N-Out Burger or something like that. And I said, just whatever you want, figure it out. And they're like, we'd love sushi. And I'm thinking dollar signs, right? I'm like, I offered, like, I'm committed now. I can't waver.
Yeah.
So it was such a great evening. You know, they kept ordering different things and talking about the game, and just another
Wow.
small town, you know, experience. But yeah.
Well, that was something that Margaret, your editing skills are amazing, but I love that you did the underdog story in such a nice way because, clearly these kids, they didn't win. Spoiler alert, but but they won so much more from the game than the actual game. They're learning who they are. They're learning how to, take defeat, and you're not always going to win, and that's part of the game, and those are really important lessons.
That's right.
Margaret, what was the score? It was,
Susie, a lot to a
Yeah.
little.
and just what you did with the story was so wonderful. It wasn't about the game. It's about the game, but it's not about the game. It was, yeah.
Well, as the game was unfolding, I was starting to panic a little bit because I was like, oh, no. The ending was always going to be the third block. I still build out a half-hour TV show like it's in blocks. So the third block was always going to be the game. And my Hollywood ending was going to be they were going to win, and I was going to really blow out the game. And so as it was unfolding, I started going, oh my word, what am I going to do with this game? Because the ending should have been the locker room speech and the victorious cheering and chanting. So, I did have my drone guy who was shooting ground camera. Actually, I was like, you got to drop your camera. And I just need like a classic, like film school, like zoom back from the scene, which I knew I kind of thought that would be my last shot. But in my head, I kept going, what am I going to do with this loss? But the more I thought about it, and as I came back and edited, I was like, oh no, this is actually kind of perfect, because this does show that. And I think, like, as I was writing the script too, like I don't love, even though writing is integral to what we do in storytelling, I try to keep script very, very minimal. I want like the people to tell the story. But as I was writing the script for the game, I was like, how in the world am I going to write around a loss? And I think I wrote something like, and it was like, the game, they were losing, but they just kept going. And that was such a metaphor for every person in this community that I met and that I encountered. So it was kind of perfect. They're losing, but they're not giving up, and nobody's attitude changed. It was sad, but the coach and the way the coach consoled one of the players after the game. So it was almost, I don't want to say better, because a loss is never better, but it certainly helped to understand the spirit and like the wisdom in the coaches too, and how they handled the players. Like, it was actually kind of better for me in the end. The game.
We're very used to losing. And of course he was bummed and, woulda, coulda, shoulda. But one of the things that we've done, and I think he also shows cattle, and there's only one winner, right? When you're showing cattle. And so from the very beginning, we've always taught the kids to do their best, and that's what matters. So, for example, when you get off of that field, do you feel that you were your best self? Did you give it your all? Did you help your teammates? Did you show sportsmanship? Because that's the other thing. Did you help that guy up, on the other team? And those are the wins. And of course, don't get me wrong, like, it would be amazing to like do all of those things and also win the game. But it's never really been about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, if I was an 18-year-old boy, I'd say, bull. Like, of course.
Yeah.
As a mom, right? And as a community member, right, Susan, it's like, it is a village that raises the kids. And so it's all the influence, every one of you guys sitting in the stands.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I went up there and discovered that 2 kids that I had taught to knit through 4-H were playing football. It's just so fun. I just want to say that the timing of the piece was so amazing for our community. We produce food in a very complicated area, and there are many challenges to that. And at a time when pressures are so great on production, changing land use in this area. I don't know, Jodi, I just felt like our community, our agricultural community, was really seen. And it took Margaret. And Margaret, you just did, it was such a gift. It was such a gift.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I had a longer version. My second block, I kind of went off on a whole farming. And then I was like, oh, wait, the NFL that's where I get my paycheck. Like, let's get back to the football.
Back
Again,
to
it is a
football.
football
Yeah.
story.
But it was very, you're right, Susan. It was the right timing because it gave, I was going to say like gave a face, but it gave our community like a personality. Like it wasn't just a gallon of milk in the grocery store, right? Or a steak. It just showed what was behind all of that. And I think that was really, really, it was important for those that were farming and ranching, but also really important for those who may not have that connection anymore.
Yeah. I talked with Jen Murphy at the school, or I reached out to her because one of the issues that you all deal with is that people don't understand the production processes. And so few of us are involved, fewer than 2% in the nation now are involved in food or fiber production. But at the school, Jen figured, the woman who runs the ag program there, she figured that half to 3/4 of the kids at that school are involved in the production of food and fiber. So it's a really unusual
Wow.
school in this very, Marin County, across the bridge across the Golden Gate Bridge from San Francisco and Silicon Valley. So it's a different kind of place. And Margaret, you really got it, girl.
That's going back to like me when I was editing the film, trying to like be true to you guys. Like when I was in that high school, when we shot the ag class with Nomar, I mean, I have 2 teenagers and I was watching these kids going, oh my gosh, my kids know nothing. Apologies to Sam and Hadley, but I felt like these kids have such a real, like I was enthralled with what they were doing and what they understood. And I know like I couldn't get over the real life skills that these kids had and the fact that they do understand food production. And I remember my DP Dave asked one of the kids, I forget who it was, but he said something like, so you raise these cattle and then you gotta go kill them, huh? Like just understanding that, like it sounds so like elementary in a way, but they're like, yeah, that's what you do because that's how the world, like that's how food production works.
That's how it works.
Well, yeah, I think that it was a young woman and he asked, don't you get attached to her market animal? And she said, well, it was really, really hard the first year, but people need food. And my family's business is to produce food.
There you go. Yeah.
And we, our kids and Jen Murphy and the FFA kids and all the kids that are showing animals and market animals, they do go through different courses. So they're prepared, so they know that is a reality and people have opinions. Our job is to care for them and to nurture them and give them their best life. And then in turn, they give us life by nurturing and feeding us. And so that's kind of the way, I don't know if the word is reconciliation, but that's kind of the reality of food production is that, yes, what you're caring for is going to be butchered and then we're going to eat it. Like that's how it goes. And every kid, I think, talks about their first year. I still remember my first year with my market lamb. I mean, it was like, I was killing my best friend. Like it was terrible, of that feeling. But then it was a reality that you learn very young. And I think it also does prepare these kids, right, for real life. And
absolutely.
I mean, it should be sugar-coated.
Yeah, I think it's great that you guys have a course that teaches them how to deal with the protesting, and cause I would assume down in San Fran you get a lot of that.
All the it's yes.
Seattle's the same.
And again, I want to say like people who are doing that, like I would love to bring them to the ranch, right? And like let's just talk about this because we all have our opinions. Eat meat, don't eat meat. Eat carrots, don't eat carrots, right? But how lucky are all of us that we have a choice? And we do have regulations that ensure that the care is proper and accepted. And so,
it's like in Yellowstone, Kevin Costner had that, or John Dutton had that protester as a guest for a few episodes.
That was awesome. I loved that scene. But it's true, like your meat and your milk doesn't just show up on the aisle. It comes from somewhere. There's a process. There's a respectful process, and ranchers know that firsthand, and they take care of the land, they take care of their animals, and there's a brutality to it, but that's life too.
Yeah, it's not always pretty. I mean, it's beautiful even in its darkness, like when you have to put an animal down because it's suffering, I mean, it's and then there's the beautifulness of just like experiencing the first birth, I mean, our kids since they were little, the kids that live on the ranches have friends that live on ranches, right? Again, your chickens, Jen, right? I mean, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
how you experience it, but that experience is
Just
really
don't name your pig. Don't name your pig. I made that mistake as a kid. That was a bad idea.
Yeah, that's a lesson that's learned right
That
away.
was a very bad idea.
That's part this is just reminding me how much like it was such an education for our film crew to come in and see all this. Like, and we kept joking like, oh, this is like the NFL Films version of Yellowstone, like in this unbelievable landscape. But I mean, I live outside a big city on the East Coast, so I have no sense of the world that you guys live in. And when we, like I said, that first day, we're just like, wow. And then by like the second or third day, but he's like, here, you can take my little, what was that little car thing that
we call them side by sides or they're like a.
So she's like, yeah, Jodi's like, oh yeah, you and Dave can take that up. And Dave and I thought we were on a field trip as a film crew. We're driving this up, and then he's like, do you guys want to feed the who did we feed? The calves? Oh, then our crews, like after we were done shooting, we're feeding. Oh, we were just thrilled. We were just enamored with this lifestyle, and so like, wow, these people are incredible. Like and again, it is a football story, but the education of farming, we loved it. I loved every minute of learning I loved learning about the whole process.
But that's the perfect version of a film, right? Is you do a story on football and it transcends to this other story about farming. And
That's right.
And there was a line in the film, there's staying power because in ranching, it's not an option to quit. In ranching, you can't give up on those animals. You can't give up on the land. It doesn't matter what the weather's doing or if you don't feel like getting out of bed, like I didn't when I was a kid. It doesn't matter. You can't quit. And that translates perfectly to the field. And that's, a great format for a story is when it transcends like that.
Mm-hmm.
Margaret, I was going to ask you, I was just going to ask you, kind of shifting gears, NFL films and just presents and all that. Do you feel internally like there's this big ascend with you right now? Like, it just seems like everything in the world, all brands, all things go through the NFL now. Like the Shield controls the world. Does it feel like that working there? Like, have you noticed like there's just more and more? I'm surprised to hear you have 70 producers. It's kind of crazy to hear.
Why, you think that's a lot?
I think it's a ton. I didn't know it was that big. Yeah, I had no idea.
I mean, when I say we have different levels of producers, but ultimately, yeah, we have almost 70 people in our department. We have that much more programming. Like when I started, we had NFL Films Presents, we had Inside the NFL, we did our highlight films in the off season, we had an international show. But the point is, I could name them on maybe two hands. I could name the shows. Now there's programming. Like I could go 3 doors down to a colleague of mine and I could go, what are you working on? Because we have so many shows.
Wow.
We do commercials. We do other sports now, partnered with so many different, our partnership with Skydance has us doing a lot of other documentaries. When you say, are we on the ascent? Yes, it's more and more and more. And if we used to edit a show it used to air on Thursday night. It was our recap show Inside the NFL. And it just kept getting pushed back until like the last iteration of it was we had to have it out the door by like tonight to put on X or on the internet, where we used to have this like slow pace. And now, it's more and more and more.
Yeah, it's just amazing to see the growth there, because it's like the only jobs that I kind of look for now, are NFL type jobs, like Hard Knocks, that kind of stuff. Like they're coming to the Seahawks this year. I'm like, how do I do that? And like Hard Knocks is another example. Like you've gone from just Hard Knocks to in season, postseason, training camp. There's like 10 spinoffs, and it's like,
it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And every time, like within, because yes, I mean, I was around for the first Cowboys Hard Knocks and the Ravens, the back at Tony Saragusa, those goofy ones. And that was like such a big deal that we were going to do one team and put all these crews at a training camp. And I mean, the in-season Hard Knocks is insane. The work schedule's insane. I mean, it's like all hands on deck. There's so many. We hire a lot of people freelance, a lot of people, a lot of seasonals to come in and do the logging of all of that footage. It's nuts.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And then if you watch episode 8 of the Hotsheet podcast, Andrew Freed, Boardwalk Pictures, has a series, the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders, and how that's a whole other ecosystem.
Yeah.
And all teams could do that if they chose to, right? I mean,
well, I think there's just the storytelling has evolved, right? Because it's not just about the game. It's more about the personalities and who these people are and, you know, like what else is going on beyond the field and stuff. But I do love there was, you know, you've got this little 8-man football team in Tomales and you're throwing in like killer NFL footage of like George Kittle and, you know, just tapping into the.
Yeah. So that's always been, I mean, my whole career, everything. I'm like, how do I weave this back to the NFL? There's always got to be in every story, not in every story, but for the most part, in every story, every football story, we have to bring, I mean, in every interview I asked, you know, all the players, and I think I might've even asked you, Jodi, like, are you a football fan? Like you have to get back to the NFL somehow, because that is my reason for existence. That's who's footing the bill for this film. And it is kind of cool to see like the 49ers are the football. I mean, they are I think that was the beginning of Block 2. I did a whole thing about the history and tied it all in. So any weaving back to superstars is, you know, that's part of the joy of editing something like this too.
I thought that was nicely done because, you know, and then you can, because, you know, the Niners play not that far from the Tomales field, you know, an hour, a couple hours. And so you can kind of connect the dots between that field and the big field. And it was just a nice way to, plus we love all that fun NFL footage. It's just so beautiful. Do they still shoot on film? Are they actually shooting on film anymore?
No,
or just digital?
No, we shot our last roll a few years ago. We've been digital.
I love all that film footage, that classic NFL film footage.
I know. You still can't get the grain and the depth. I don't care. I mean, we have really nice cameras, obviously. I mean, the high def. When I've been here long enough that I remember when we switched to high def, like, and it was like, oh, whoa, this is amazing. But I still, like, there's something about film and like I think the first thing that I edited here, no, I don't think I know, it was actually on film. Like I had a flatbed in my office and I was cutting and splicing actual film.
Wow.
Yes, that's how old I am.
Well, there are a lot of camera people that watch this show.
This show in particular?
Yeah, the Hotsheet. What are you guys shooting on now?
Alexa, Arri.
Okay.
Yeah, we have many different cameras.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. And
the nice thing is we have staff shooters. That's like almost, I don't know anybody, companies don't hold on to, you know, staff cinematographers, but we do. And they're the best in the business. And those guys, like, I mean, that call that I took at the beginning of this is with a DP that I'm working on an open for a show in a couple weeks. And he wanted to talk to me about just some lensing things. And the nice thing is, though, I don't have to necessarily know all the technical aspects. I mean, I'm directing, but we have the creative conversations. And because he's a staff guy, he just comes up to my office and we meet, and then he puts in the order for all the gear, and it's all sometimes we rent equipment, but for the most part, we own everything.
Yeah, I bet it's nice.
I don't really remember, but he certainly went through, you know, film each different process. But we had a Photosonics, one of the high-speed cameras. The film went through faster, so you got your slow motion. And we had one and used that for NFL films for years and years and years and years. I learned to be his assistant and how to change mags, and got to go to some sports events, not being really too much of a sports fan. But man, you know, when I first got some exposure to NFL films in 1983 or 4, I was so taken by how serious they are, how committed to quality, how thoughtful, how complete, is everything covered, how completely prepared. It's so, so impressive. It's just the best. In fact, I have a story about a coach, Al Saunders, who went to high school with my husband, Mark. Al Saunders coached for the Oakland Raiders, and his kids were interested in film, went to USC Film School. And his dad said, well, I'm with the NFL. Maybe if you'd like to, get connected with there somehow, I could maybe help you with that. And the son said, no, 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 that's sports stuff. No, 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 no. He's at USC in his junior year, getting ready for internships. And the woman who helps everybody find their internships comes and lists all of them at the studios, at the networks. And at the end, she says, but if you have any connection or any opportunity, the best internship program in the country is with NFL Films. So the son took it, did it. Our son did it.
Wow. Place to start. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Like for NFL, your son's shooting for the NFL too? Oh my gosh. Wow. You're like royalty. We're talking to NFL royalty here with you.
That's why I became a director, because when I was doing training, I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to have my hands in that bag. I don't want to worry about this. I want to tell somebody else. I will give you a vision. You shoot it that way for me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure many roles probably got lost due to that stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like just in those conditions and over the years.
Yeah, I mean, our guys are pretty good.
Okay.
That's what they do. And Jodi, what was it like being in an NFL film? We've got all this royalty going on, but you were in the film with your son playing Friday nights. Like what was that like? Did it change the game at all for you? Or how did you guys feel about NFL being filmed by them?
Margaret and the crew, like you guys were just so gracious and so kind. Like it didn't feel like NFL royalty. It just felt like we were friends hanging out, having fun. Like you just were able to like take it down to just be you. So it never was like that. And I also wasn't expecting to be in the film. So I was just myself the whole time. I think maybe I would have been nervous if I would have known what the outcome would have been. And I remember Margaret giving me a heads up, like, hey, just so you know, like I forget the word, you'd spattered you throughout the documentary, throughout the film. And I was like, and I think I said something like, just please don't make me look stupid. And I'm like, but I trust you. And so then when we sat down and watched it, I was in awe. I was in awe at what your team and Margaret, what you guys put together. You captured our community perfectly. And I have to say, my favorite part of the film is when Strand said, look at the sunset when they were at practice. And I was like, is this a joke? Did he do this just as a joke? Because ever since the kids were little, right, we've always talked about the sunsets, and it's kind of a thing, right, Susan, in the community. It's like you see somebody in the morning at the post office or, at the coffee shop, and you're like, did you see that sunset last night? And so that right there is the just made
that
me so
sterling ring of truth
that was real.
So I have to tell you that's the joy of like real documentary filmmaking too, is that like when you capture a moment, I'm not like setting up a shot. I'm not telling anybody what to say. Like I heard that in The Wire, like we wired Strand at practice, and I heard that. And the other shot that I loved that was just a stolen moment is my camera operator saw you standing on that rock, just looking up at the sky. And it wasn't a shot that I had on my list. It wasn't like we told you, hey, Jodi, go stand there and look up like you're really in awe of this land. And when I saw that shot and then I heard Strand's bite, I was like, oh, this is like that. Those are the aha moments of filmmaking that especially, again, you go and you don't know what you're going to capture. You don't know what you're going to get. And that's why I did kind of weave you throughout, because I really felt like your personality was just the heart of the piece in a way that it needed that for sure.
That's very sweet. Thank you.
I felt that too. I felt the moment, and I felt, your joy, Jodi. It really comes through, you were just being you.
Yeah. And the blessed life. I mean, really, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I do not take for granted a second of what, my grandfather is why, we are in ranching, and, he started and stopped a few times before he finally bought the ranch that we are in now, and I was going to share this again, a little tidbit is where you were filming at the dairy where Albert Strauss is. That was my great grandfather was born there. So my
Wow.
grandfather's family came from Ireland and ranched there originally. And so it's just, again, it's the full circle moment. And it's also just never forgetting how blessed we are to be where we are. Like, I can't say that enough. Like, it's not everyone gets to do this. And I know that. Yeah.
It comes through. It really comes through. And your son, Strand, he's named after a cowboy, right?
Yeah,
That's a
so
cowboy.
Strand Smith is a professional cowboy, and so if we were to have a boy, that was the name that we were going to use, is Strand. After we named him Strand, because again, it's like, oh, should we name him Cody? Or, there's all these other like really great names, and we also
Rip.
wanted to name our kids someone that
Rip.
we didn't know, right? And we have big Italian and Irish families, and so after we named him, there was a few moments where I was like, oh my God, what the heck did we just name our kid? Like, people are like, Stan, and it was like, no, it's Strand. And you know what? It fits him. It just fits him.
And what is he doing now?
So he's in Oklahoma at a JC in El Reno, Oklahoma. It's called Redlands, and he was invited to be on their show team. So they show cattle. And so he got a scholarship to do that. And he is just loving life. He's had goals in his life. And just when he was a little kid, and he's doing them. Like, he wanted to work at the largest cattle sale barn, in America. And so he went and visited it in Oklahoma City and was trying to get a job there. Maybe he's working for another guy showing cattle, and he is going to school. He has, I do check in about that, but he's just having a great time. Yeah.
That's nice.
Great. Good for him. That's cool.
Oh yeah. Super proud. Yeah. Yeah. But he did it. I did not, again, going back to ranching or even just going back to our small community, if the kids want it, they have to go after it. Things aren't handed to them. They really, yeah.
Did he try or
underdogs don't
have any
quit.
thoughts of walking on the football team down there? Or?
That's another story. Because, I loved being a football mom. I had no idea till it started. And I was like, oh man, we should have been in Pop Warner and everything. Like, it was just something about being a football mom that is just, I can't find the words. And it's like watching your little baby boy, right? But it's like watching your little boy turn into a man and a good man, and it's something about that football that teaches them those morals and those values. And so when he was deciding where he was going to go for school, I was just like, please, can you go to Santa Rosa JC and play on the football team? Please, And really, he just said, Mom, I loved my time playing football, but he really was about his body and how beat up he got in that, and no regrets. But he was just like, yeah, I loved it, and I'm going to continue ranching, and that he needs his body for that. So that's kind of, and not to say, I mean, again, 8-man Tomales football. I mean, he's not going to a D1 school and walking on, a football field in the NFL. Like, that was never an expectation of his, but I was bummed. I would have loved a few more years of football.
Yeah, it'd been fun. Maybe Margaret will do football moms if they haven't already done it.
That's a great idea.
Because I know that there's a professional wives one, right? Like through the New York Jets, I think they did.
There you go. Football moms, they're serious. Yeah. Yeah. They run a tight ship there.
Or the football wives. They should do a show on the football wives too. Or
they did that one. They did that one. Yeah. They did. Yeah.
Yep.
They're
We were
also
partnered in that.
Yeah, I found myself always like pacing, right? The sidelines watching. And I too don't know a whole lot about football, I will also admit. And so I would ask Strand, I'm like, can you just wear different color socks or something? Because I found in the very beginning, when he was a freshman, I just watched wherever Strand was and like, did he get up? Okay, phew, and then then it evolved to like, all right, like you missed that tackle. What are you thinking? Faster. No dinner for you.
You're a football mom.
You do have to have a baseline knowledge of football to work here.
No, yes. Sorry.
I have to clarify that.
Do you watch games? Do you watch the games?
Do I? Oh yeah, I have to. I do.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I have to. I don't obviously during the playoffs, but yeah, it's just I'm not going. We have a show like matchup. We have our X's and O's shows. Like that's not going to be anything that I'm working on. I'm going to be working. But yes, we all have to watch football. And obviously when it's a Hard Knocks team, like we're all in on if I'm working on that Hard Knocks, then I have to watch all of that.
Right.
All those
right.
games.
That's so cool. Well, you're my hero.
Well,
You
I mean,
all are.
really, it was so cool to be behind the scenes. That's another thing, like we kind of didn't talk about, like with the kids. And, because I'd be like, hey, what was that like? And, and then hearing Strand talk to his friends about being in it. And it was like, they were it was so cool to see Margaret and being part of all the different, I don't know what the word is, but like different scenes that you were capturing, and just seeing it all come together was just like, it was like a miracle, kind of like, not miracle that you did it. It was like, yeah, it came out wrong. It was like, it just was amazing that all of that time we spent together turned into this, half an hour film that just captured everything perfectly. So it's like magic. That's what I was looking for, magic.
Pre-production is everything. There was a method to our, like, even though I know you didn't ask me this, but I'm going to tell you anyways, like I direct like an editor. So like, I know as I'm shooting, like obviously that scene that we did with Strand in the morning, that was every one of those shots was set up. Like it was a action cut. Okay, reset. We blocked off that whole scene the day before when we scouted. So like those scenes were planned, like, okay, and cue, action. Okay, cut, go, move to the next spot. And that's kind of what's cool about what we do at NFL Films, especially for Presents, is that it's kind of hybrid, fully scripted and documentary, because like we do have these setup scenes, but then I knew we need to get all these scenics. And as I'm watching it, I'm looking at a monitor and I'm like, yep, got it. Like when we were shooting the cows being fed that morning at sunrise, I mean, I was just like, oh my God, like just looking at the monitor, I was just like, this is so pretty. But then like, again, when you direct, like I'm a big, like, I got it. We don't need to keep rolling. Like I'm pretty confident once I have the shot. Okay, cut, let's repo, go get another angle of it. So like I knew as I was going through and gathering all these elements, I was like, yep, I'm going to use that. Oh, I just heard, and I had headphones during the game. Yep. Okay. I'm going to use that. Even at the dinner, when they started talking about, like I had headphones there and I was like, oh, I'm going to use that conversation. And then I cut. So there is like, as you're going through, you plan and then you hear it and you go, I got it. And then coming back and putting it all together. It's kind of like putting together, like I love puzzles. And it's like all the shots, like, yes, I know some of the shots and they fit together so well. And then putting it all back together and then seeing the big picture, I'm like, oh, that was great.
Margaret, do you agree with this statement? Like, I think all people that go out on set like that, direct, produce, should start in post. I mean,
I totally agree. I mean, and we're really unique here, though. Like, you guys know this. Like, most people, the directors are not editing. The editors are not directing. This is a really unique environment, one that I thrive in because I went to school for film and I knew I didn't want to be changing any mags and like operating the equipment, but I still can't decide which I love more, because I like going out on the road and meeting the Jodi Stevens and the Jerry Rices, like I love both of those and capturing the images. But then it's like, it's the creative, the satisfaction that I get out of coming back and putting it together. I mean, I'm big on music too. Like I picked the music for this film before I went out I get a soundtrack because I knew, like, after talking to them and like I Google walk around the area to like get an idea of what the scenery is. And then I go to our music department and I sit with them and I listen to songs until I find the right vibe. And so I knew I kind of wanted like a little bit of acoustic guitar, but then I wanted some like, so I picked all the music ahead of time so that when I'm out directing, looking at that monitor, I hear that song in my head as I'm looking at the shot, and then putting it together. That's my favorite. Like, and I knew I wanted to start with this quiet farm scene, and I didn't want to have script. I didn't want you to hear a narrator right away, and then like bringing in the music, just like peeling it back. Like that's, anyway, sorry, that I'm pretty passionate. The craft of editing and directing that's.
I think that might be the secret sauce at NFL Films is that you do get to carry it all the way through, because typical stuff that Jen and I work on, you're in the field and that's where you are. There's one company I've done some work for out of London that they encourage us producers to come and work on the post side, and a lot of people don't take advantage of that, but they should. Yes. You got to know how to edit, I think, before you can direct, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Even some of our best, one of my favorite cinematographers to work with, he was a director and editor. And so he knows even, we always laugh because I'm like, oh, we got that shot, don't you? Yeah, I got it. Nailed it. No, it's a really rare combination to be able to do both. But
that's really cool though, because that you explained your process perfectly, and taking ownership of the whole piece. From the concept, from when Susie called you, to presenting it to NFL, to filming it, and then coming back and putting it all together. It's your film. It's all you. It's all Margaret.
Well, that's like. When I was in school, we used, I'm sure you guys all, the auteuristic approach, right? Where you're like putting your signature on something as a creator. So to be able to have it from conceptualization. And by the way, like I'll also acknowledge, like I'm not always the ideas person. Like the idea came from Mark and Susie Allan. Like they gave it to me and I just went, oh, I could do that. Like, and that happens a lot. Like one of my favorite pieces that I do, it wasn't my idea. Somebody else came up with the idea and I was like, ooh, I'll take that, because what I love to do is go out and direct and edit it. But yeah, just to be able to see it all. I mean, I see it all the way through down to like graphics, and then we're sitting in a mix with it and we're, okay, wait, I need a little more sweetening here. And like, let's bring the music down. I mean, you see it all the way through to the screen.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm jealous of that, being able to do that. The thing I'm even more curious about is your process with music, because music is a thing I could get hung up on for a month and a half. I mean, even longer than that, even if I allow myself to. Music is it sets everything. Music's everything.
Totally agree. And you know what? That's a me personal thing. Not every producer here has that same process. Like I'm not sure. I might be one of the only people that actually goes and gets my music before I direct. But I just think it sets the tone. And I always tell young producers that come to me and ask me, like, talk to me about editing, I'm always like, find music that inspires you. Like it's always going to be better. Don't be a slave to it. Like you can't just go and edit everything on the beat. Like you're going to have, I also edit music a lot too. So like I might have 5 edits in a piece because I want to bring people up and bring people down. My grandfather was a pianist, and he played in the silent film era, and his job was to watch the screen. My grandpa was born in 1910. He's passed away, but he would watch the screen and the music, and as he would play, it would crescendo, and then he would get, and it was just watching it. And so like I think you have to, they go hand in hand. You have to watch the image and make your notes and your flow and your bridges go together seamlessly. Okay.
Well, NFL Films, but NFL Films has one of the most famous songs ever.
So that's like the network footage. We have in-house composers. So we have all the old symphonic. We have so many. I mean, that guy is a genius. We have 2 in-house composers. So our music is like the classic symphonic, probably
the violins, the whatever that is.
Yeah. Well, we bring an orchestra in to the building after he composes music, and they like right on the other side of this building have a whole studio where the orchestra comes in and plays the music and if your show has a budget for original music, then we didn't have a budget for that on this. Sorry. But they compose the music here and bring in the orchestra and play it, and then we put it, like the Hard Knocks music is all composed.
Man, you guys
That's
just
incredible.
you do everything right at the NFL, I swear. Like
Yeah.
it's just like take a lesson out of NFL films.
That's why so many
guys.
people like us want to go work there. People in our, like people that Jen and I have worked with, so much has changed in our business, and NFL and even, MLB starting to catch up a little bit.
Well, there's just a lot of
tiny little bit,
shortcuts.
but it's like,
yeah, there's just
it's just-
shortcuts in TV,
Yeah.
and you guys have the budget. So like a
Yeah,
lot of these
yeah.
processes get shortcutted in TV budgets, but
We have the infrastructure, I think, like that other, like Steve Sable used to call this like the little Hollywood studio on the Delaware. We are,
yeah.
we developed the film back in the day. It was like the film was developed and processed here. We have a whole color grading department. Like we have a graphics department. We have the in-house cinematographers. So it's all done here under one roof.
That's
Now
so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Not gonna lie, it's good.
I want to work there too now.
Yeah, you should. You should.
Who cares about this ranch?
Care about the ranch, Jodi.
I know. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, this has been amazing talking to you guys and about this inspiring film. And you're all inspiring and giving us so much to think about beyond the football field. We really appreciate it.
Of course.
Well, and
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, ladies, thank
absolutely.
you.
I'm honored to have been part of the film, and just my life is better, right? I've met all of you, and thank you. This is cool. Yeah. Thanks what you did for our community. And Susan, thank you.
I love it.
I'm happy to be part of the community with you.
So wonderful to do in every way. Just Margaret, just the way you approached it, and you just held us in your heart. It was very comforting after a kind of a rough year out here in West Marin. So thank you.